So is the G4 worth the upgrade? Hey guys, how's it going? Justin here from Walts, and today we're talking about the brand new LG G4. This TV is a 4K 120Hz OLED masterpiece from LG, and the biggest question is how much better is the G4 than the G3? And is it worth the upgrade? That's what we're here to figure out, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, today we're looking at the 77-inch, which has a width of 67.4, a height of 40.9, and a depth of 12.6 inches. The G4 does come in 5 different sizes. You have your 55, your 65, your 77, 83, and of course the massive 97. Only the 55 and 65 are going to come with actual base stands. The rest are going to come with the flush wall mounts. You can always buy either of these if you need them, so don't worry about it. Now, the G4 has a very sleek and modern design, and it has these super thin bezels with a very flat side profile, making it perfect to flush mount on the wall and have as an art piece. And you might have also noticed that there are actually some cutouts on the back for cable management if you want to route those cables and keep it flush mounted. I will say when installing this, if you're going to have that flush look, make sure to kind of plug those cables in before you hang it on the wall and just have them dangling, so that way when you go to actually, plug everything in, it's very hard to do if you don't do it, while it's off of the mount. But yeah, I mean, honestly, in terms of physical design, we're not really looking at any major differences between the G4 and the G3. The updates are really from within. Now, since this TV is an OLED, organic light emitting diode, each individual pixel out of the 8.3 million can turn itself on, off, red, green, white, blue. And what this allows for is very, very minimal to absolutely no bleeding, depending on what you're watching. And this is something that kind of you'll tend to see in traditional LEDs or even some of the mini LED TVs. You just get a much more sharp image, and the contrast and color just goes through the roof when you have, organic LEDs lighting your screen rather than just backlights. It's also going to help with the viewing angles as well. So if you're in a large room where people might be watching in a circle or just in different areas of that room, it's definitely going to hold up in that sense. The G3 had an A9. Now this one, the G4, has the A11 processor, so we're going to get more processing power, all of which is going to help the AI Picture Pro and the AI Super Upscaler, which is kind of a new feature that they've got going. And if you're not familiar with upscaling, essentially what upscaling does is it takes a 1080p image and scales it up to 4K by predicting all of the individual pixels that would have been there if it was a 4K image. So essentially, it's just going to make it a lot more sharp, and this works not only on the streamed content from, like Netflix or other apps, most of which already has 4K Dolby Vision and Atmos content, but, if you're watching just general broadcasting, it's going to look a lot better on a TV like this than something that you just pick up for a couple $100. Not to mention, it also comes with Brightness Booster Max, which is going to help bring up that brightness. And the biggest difference here is the dynamic range. You're going to be able to fit more information into that image. So when you have a really bright and really dark area of the same scene, the TV will be able to differentiate that very, very well. Now, in terms of connections, it's going to come with 3 USB ports, an Ethernet port, a cable antenna, an optical, and then an RS-232 port. I'm not personally going to use that, but maybe you will. And of course, more importantly, it does come with 4 2.1 HDMI ports. Full 48 gigabits per second support on all 4 of these, which is really, really nice, so that you have the options to plug in more full bandwidth devices. And yes, that allows for 4K at 120 Hz, which is really important if you're a big gamer, which we will talk about a little bit later. Now, the G4 does come with the newer Magic Remote, and although I love the Magic Remote, I just wish that, these gallery models would come with a little bit upgraded of a remote, not in terms of function, but just style. I remember back in the day when I had the E6P with the glass, it had that signature remote, and I just thought that was a really nice touch. I understand why they don't do it, but it just would be nice to have that. And, as soon as they add it back, I'll definitely make it clear that I'm excited about it. Oh, and if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out. So I want to jump back to gaming. And in terms of gaming and describing your gaming experience, they have 1,000 different words and random long explanations on why, but I'll dumb it down for you. Basically, this is going to be one of the best TVs to game on, if not one of the best at a minimum. And one of the features that is going to benefit a lot from this new processor is the game mode setting. From what I've seen, it's supposed to actually make it a little bit more brighter and still give you that 120 hertz refresh rate. The G3 is still a great TV, but the G4 is going to be a little bit better in that sense. It also comes with HLG, Dolby Vision, Dolby Vision IQ, HDR10 Pro, and all of those are going to help sharpen up that image, work with the high dynamic range as well. And really what stands out to me personally with the G4 is just how well it can handle those scenes where it's really bright in one corner, really dark in the other. You're just getting so much more dynamic range than you would in any of your basic TVs or even some of your premium TVs. If you already have an OLED, you kind of have an idea of what that feels like, but if you have a lower level OLED and you're looking at upgrading, then you'll really see it. Now, the G4 itself has a 4.2 channel, 60 watt down-firing speaker with WiSA compatibility. I don't think TV speakers are ever going to meet the needs of the consumer just because of how flat they are nowadays, and that's just because of how they've been designed. Honestly, with being so flat, they can't fit a real speaker in there, and that's really where soundbars were born. And honestly, I'd make the argument that sound is at least 50% of the experience, if not more. And if you don't agree with me, watch this clip of really high quality video with low quality audio, and then the opposite, and you tell me which one is more tolerable.
So this is an example of amazing video quality with terrible audio quality. Let's switch and see what sounds better.
Now, our video quality has decreased, but our audio quality has gone through the roof. Major improvements. What do you guys think? So yeah, I think a lot of people forget about how important audio is when you're listening to what you're seeing. You don't want one to be way below the other. So I'd really recommend getting, at a minimum, a really nice soundbar. You could pair it with a surround sound system, but then you're gonna be spending more on that than the actual TV, which, if you really care about audio, you're gonna appreciate it. If not, I understand. There's plenty of great soundbar options out there. If you want to stick with LG, I recommend something like the SC9, or if you want a more flush and gallery look, the GX is actually made for the G line, so you could check both of those out. We've done full videos on those. If you want a separate, audio branded soundbar that still sounds good and will work well with your system, I recommend the JBL Bar 1300X. We've actually installed it with the G3 before, and it turned out super nice. I actually did a video on that too, so if you wanted to check that out, feel free. But yeah, with that being said, that pretty much wraps everything up on the G4. In my opinion, I think the step from the G2 to the G3 was like a 5-step increase. With the G3 to the G4, it was only like a 2. And so with that being said, is it worth upgrading from the G3 to the G4? Probably not. But if you have a G2 and you've been waiting for something a little bit nicer, then maybe it's time for a G4. Or even if you have, one of those lower level OLEDs like a B or an A or a C from, a couple years ago, it might actually be worth it now to upgrade, get that MLA. But yeah, so I'll leave all the products in the description down below if you want to directly support me. If you're here in the Phoenix Metro Valley, come down to our store in Tempe, and you can actually look at the G4 and see if you think it's worth the upgrade for yourself. If you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. If this is a product that you're interested, make sure to email me at youtube@walts so I can get you a special YouTube discount. If you haven't already, subscribe for more videos like these, and we'll see you in the next one.